Why is it that we so often take for granted the things that are in our lives? Stay still, paper. And it is only when these things disappear from our lives that we realize their true value. This is a fundamental paradox of human nature, that we take the things we have for granted and we value the things that we don't have more than the things we have. We don't rejoice in the things we have, but we long for things we don't have. The psychology behind this is hedonic adaptation, which is the phenomenon of a positive or negative occurrence in our lives giving us a temporary high or low emotionally. But soon enough, we get used to it and we return to a baseline level of happiness. So firstly, what this shows is that happiness is not dependent on positive experiences. It does not derive solely from them. Now, this is another paradox, and it goes against the whole philosophy of hedonism, right? Avoiding what is painful, avoiding loss, avoiding failure, and pursuing what is pleasurable and enjoyable above all else. They think that will make you happy. They think that will bring you fulfillment in your life. But often they're just chasing the next temporary hit, and their dopamine systems are saturated. It's important to understand that this phenomenon keeps us at a baseline level of emotional stability, which is obviously important for us to mature and for us to be consistent and balanced in life. You know, if we're constantly going from a high to a low, we're all over the place. There's no consistency, and there's no stability. But it also illustrates that by our own nature, we're not grateful. We're ungrateful by our own nature. And that's why gratitude is something we must practice. That's the key. Yeah, we can feel feelings of gratitude, but it's usually we feel feelings of gratitude when we receive something in the instant that that thing is received. Or we feel gratitude when we achieve something, or when something goes right, or as we expected. We don't often feel gratitude for the things we have day in and day out. But you best believe that if those things were taken away from us, then we would sure miss them. You know, Marcus Aurelius talks about this, and I think about it in the modern sense. A great example would be a cup of coffee. I mean, I love coffee. I'm a massive coffee fan myself. And I drink coffee every day. I love coffee. But it's not something that I consciously, every sip that I'm having, I'm thinking, oh, I'm so grateful for this coffee, you know? Yeah, I enjoy it, and I try to remind myself of how nice it is and how much I do value it. But I still take it for granted, even though I know that I really value it, and I love it. I mean, it's not going to necessarily make me elated or joyful, but it can. It can if I imagine what it would be like to have coffee completely stripped away from me. Now, this is where negative visualization comes into the equation when practicing gratitude. Negative visualization was a technique used by the Stoics to engender gratitude in themselves, because they knew as well that it was not the natural state of the human being to be grateful. It was the natural state of the human being to be quite ungrateful, to be honest, and to be constantly striving for more and more. And maybe that's why we have pushed on so far as a species with advancements in various industries. So maybe it's a kind of thing where it's a blessing and a curse, but we can combat the curse side of it by reminding ourselves of how much we would miss it if it was not there. So just imagine some things in your life, whether that be a loved one, whether that be your favorite piece of clothing, something you really enjoy doing, something that you really appreciate, because you know you appreciate it. You might not express that explicitly on a daily basis and rejoice in it, but you know you value it. And so think about that thing that you value. It could be anything, really. And imagine how much you would miss that thing if it was taken away from you. That should introduce you to gratitude. Gratitude that it is here. Gratitude that you do have it. Gratitude for what you have right now. For the things you so often take for granted. And so when you do this, when you imagine what it would be like to lose the things you value, you don't only envelop gratitude within yourself, but you also prepare yourself for loss. You understand the reality that most of us avoid, that nothing is permanent in this life. The only permanent thing in this life is impermanence, that nothing will last forever. States are always changing, rising, falling, passing away, coming back. And so don't take the things that you have for granted, because you don't know when they will be taken away. It could be any moment. It could be tomorrow. And so start being grateful now, before it's too late. See you later.